Delusional would probably be too soft of a word to describe individuals such as this who are saying things such as this 2 months after a complete mollywop of a presidential campaign. So I probably would have to go with retarded. That's probably the best word at this point, right? Mentally ill doesn't even necessarily have the same sting. So just complete, full blown, full retard, right, is what we're dealing with at this point. Because, okay, I'm just going to let y'all listen to this woman giving her perspective on what happened with Kamala, and then I'm going to give my 2 cents. So let's get into it.
Kindly on her term. She was an extraordinary advocate on issues that matter to women in ways that we have never seen before. And I think like many women, and really anyone who is the first, who is a trailblazer, they carry an extra heavy load and the burden is, really upon them. It is an incredibly difficult road to, path to walk, but she's done it with grace. I think she's made some really important strides on behalf of women in the country. I think the ways in which especially she's defined the abortion rights issue as a freedom issue in this time will be looked back on as defining. And I hope we, take a moment to acknowledge her extraordinary history-making contributions and not just, leave her sole legacy as having lost the presidency, because there's so much more.
This woman has no legacy, folks. I don't know what the hell Becky is talking about at all, but SKamala did not do anything for women besides probably take y'all back a good 30 to 40 years. Like, we were ready for a female president. If we had a Tulsi Gabbard or, I was going to say, Michelle Obama, but that's debatable as far as female president. I'm allegedly a female, right? Even on that far left wokey side, she probably would have even done better. And she has zero experience besides, having 3 terms with her husband in there, but I digress. SKamala did nothing besides regress the entire conversation of having a woman president, especially on the left, right? They're basically, I think they're cooked for the next 8, maybe 16 years, getting their act back together, literally their act, because that's what they've tended to do throughout history is they act. They put on a show and they put puppets in place. Do y'all remember that? How Kamala was never actually voted into the position of the front runner for the Democratic Party? I don't know if y'all remember that. There was this guy named Joe, right? Dude born in 1763 and, has been in politics ever since. This guy was president, allegedly, and he was the front runner for the party. All of a sudden, he has a complete meltdown of a debate with DJT, aka Donald Jacques Trump. And let's just say they had a little switcheroo last minute where Grandpa Joe is ousted and SKamala is the replacement. So that's how she got that position. Now, if we go a little further back, she got into the vice presidency because they were looking to fulfill a DEI quota. This is fact. This isn't me trying to be some type of way, right? This isn't me trying to be funny. This isn't me trying to be a coon or Uncle Tom or a sellout as some of y'all want me to be. But instead, it's the facts. Biden administration said we need a woman to be vice president and we prefer a woman of color because it's going to look good. They do stuff like that. This is politics, okay? Politricks. And so they got SKamala. She was the closest thing to it. That's how deprived they are of genuine talent, of genuine merit, which has been the word that's been floating in the ether as of recent, right? Somebody who is actually equipped, who is competent enough for the job. And so you had SKamala in that position. She then takes a back seat. We don't hear from her for like 4 years straight. All of a sudden, she is ousted from out yonder, out in the mere wilderness. She is pulled out into the front stage where she now becomes Queen Cackles. And we're told to all hail Queen Cackles. As black men, we are told that if you do not support this woman, you are a sellout. You are a white supremacist, right? That's what we were told. And of course, black women, 93%, they were already sold on that. Everybody else was getting the message, there's a white dudes for Harris, and white wives, like suburban wives, don't tell your husband who you're voting for. Little did they know that the wives they were talking to are already voting for DJT because they were tired of this woke BS. They didn't want their kids to have their genitals mutilated. So that's basically how the story went. So again, we find ourselves here, and now we're on the other side. They say around $2.5 billion was actually wiped out during that campaign. Multis of hundreds of millions of dollars given to these celebrities, etc. Private jets, fancy dinners, the good runaround, boxed wines, few bottles of Hennessy. So they blew through $2 to $2.5 billion in their campaign, ended up in $20 million worth of debt. And now here we are having a straight-faced conversation about how this woman is going to leave behind a legacy. Now we're having a straight-faced conversation about how this woman was a net positive to the Democratic Party. She's not a net positive to her damn self, let alone the party that was already struggling to find an identity. The party who was running on the basis of boys are girls and girls are boys, but also there's no such thing as a boy or girl. So technically, what the hell are we talking about? That party. The party that was using innuendo such as women's reproductive rights when they really meant unaliving your babies at unprecedented rates. And they believed that this was the core issue for women in America, that every woman was like on a day. Look, this is the craziest thing, right? I saw this TikTok. When was it? It was probably a week or so after the election. And this person asked one of the greatest questions I've heard ever in my entire life. They said, now, ladies, how many abortions were you planning on having? Damn. Like, if this is the core issue for you, if this is the make or break, not whether or not your children that you have already that are here are able to eat and have a roof over their heads. Not, are they safe? Because we're not just allowing criminals in, and we're not allowing criminality within our own country and giving all slap on the wrist. Thank you very much, Gavin Newsom. Not those issues, but instead, unaliving your baby. That's the core issue. We need to tackle the unaliving of the baby because every woman is obsessed with multitudes. Are you guys, you can only have technically, well, I guess you can have more than one a year because let's say you can do one every 6 months, right? I mean, which is disgusting and mind-blowing, but let's say every 6 months. It's still not something that affects your life in the same way all the other issues affect your life. And that's what she ran on. And this woman right here, Becky, whatever your damn name is, I've never seen you a day in my life, and I do not care to, because you are full of lies. This woman right here claims that Kamala ran this like effortless, woman-powered, issues that people care about. What the hell are we talking about? Kamala only got votes because there has been an 8-year campaign to destroy Donald Jacques Trump the first and his entire reputation. There has been, look at that. Devil trying to take my throat. There has been an unprecedented attack on that man, which is created for a base of Trump haters as well as Trump supporters. There was no Kamala Harris during this campaign season. There was no Kamala. It was anti-Trump or pro-Trump or pro-America first. Right? Because even people who didn't like Trump necessarily still wanted the America First agenda. And so that's how that happened. That's how that happened. They spent $1 billion on advertising to force feed SKamala Harris down your throat. A woman you did not know nil a thing about, before 2024. You knew nothing about. You didn't know damn Dougie. Oh, Dougie, my Dougie. You knew about my Dougie. My Dougie. My Dougie. My friend. Maybe you know about that Dougie, but not that Dougie. You didn't know anything about that woman. Then Tim Waltz gets pulled out of the damn ether himself. This damn bumbling fool. Who is this guy? You've never heard of him. They were pulling people like magic tricks. And okay, we're just, oh yeah, yeah, okay, sure. I can be a white guy for Harris. It was a psyop. $1 billion spent, and that's not even including the unpaid. The unpaid or earned media is what they call it in marketing terms, right? The earned quote unquote media, which was 80% of the mass media, probably more so, probably closer to 90% of the mass media is left leaning. These are the facts. And her name was perpetuated. Actually, more so, Trump hatred was perpetuated because that's all they really need. That was their main narrative, right? They hid her as much as they could. Do y'all remember that part? They hid her for a long time. No interviews, nothing. And when she did do them, they were curated. They were choppy, straight to the point. She did the one with Brett Baer on Fox. They got there 25 minutes late. They left 20 minutes early. The interview was about 25 minutes long. They asked Joe Rogan if he could come to them. Joe Rogan has not left that studio in 57 years. And he's not even 57 years old. That man has been there since before he was born. His spirit was born in that studio. And they asked him if he could leave the studio and if he could come to SKamala and they could edit out. They could please give us the content so we can edit out. My nigga, this is not that. This is not that. This is not that. Joe Rogan, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk for 3 hours and you are liable to hit the blunt. That's Joe Rogan. Now we're about to take this content and chop it up and edit it down. And no, ma'am. No, ma'am. This is a disgrace. This is an absolute disgrace right here. They're still playing the cope game. And that's the only reason I'll say this. Because I have been seeing a lot of dissension and discord within the MAGA movement. But of course, as you should. If it's not a cult, you're going to have disagreements, as you should, right? But the Dems have gone so far, the so-called Democratic Party, because they've become just some alien-esque whatever. They've gone so damn far that it's going to take years for them to recover just to get something together. You know, because they're so disconnected. They're so full of themselves. And when you don't have the ability to introspect as a human being, you are finished. That is a death sentence to you. If you do not have the ability to look at yourself and say, what did I do to cause this outcome? Or what did I not do to cause this outcome? If you can't do that, I promise you, you are going to be perpetually stuck. Your life is going to be symptomatic of stuckness because you'll be spinning in circles, blaming other people, complaining, trying to, okay, well, it was that. No, it was me. I failed. I lost the campaign. I did this and this and this wrong. We did this and this and this wrong. Let's correct it. Maybe, just maybe, the American people actually know what they want. You know, I said, like, it's a very simple thing. And I know this from 7 years within a marketing business, right? And growing up in the house of an entrepreneur. When you are a business person, you must look to see what is it that my constituents or my customers or my clients want. What is it that they actually want? Market fit, right? Supply and demand. What is the demand? And I must create some supply that's going to meet that demand. Market fit. Who is my market that actually needs this product? So America said, hey, you know what? We don't want inflation so damn high. Can we fix that? And Trump says, okay, let's work on inflation. You know what? The whole border open to multis of millions of illegal immigrants coming in and, you know, many of which are criminals and unvetted. We don't want that. Can we close that border up? And Trump was like, oh, close the border. It's so simple. Listen to the people at scale. And if you're going to follow through on that at any level or extent, then you're going to get the support of the people. What do they want? Not what does your loony, out of your damn mind self want. well, I think we should have drag shows at the kindergarten. No, nobody asked for that. We asked for the opposite of that. We want nothing to do with that. You people should be in an institution somewhere wrapped up with a jacket that puts your arms behind your damn back. That's where you should be if you think like that. Not in the White House. And unfortunately, for too long, they've gotten away with it because the undying loyalty of, the woke people, and hate to say it, but a lot of black folks, still 93% voted for Miss Cuckoo here, and 80% voted for Miss Cocoa Puff. So here we are. But thank God we are on the other side of this madness. We indeed, as most say, we dodged. Trump was not the only one who dodged a bullet. We dodged a bullet. I'll tell you that. We dodged a bullet as America. Whew. That was going to be a situation.
I used to be afraid of the dark, a place unknown like a heart in their heart. I used to see my life in the bar. Now the kids unchained, every shackle is lost. 2 steps in the moonlight, 2 step in the daytime. You just know when it feel right. You got a feeling the time's night. See you through those shades that I just threw on. Through my lenses, you just can't do no wrong. I fell in love with myself again. I fell in love with myself. I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night.